Okay. All right, we're all back now. Call us back to order. The next item is the proclamation for Constitution Week. And I have that here, and I almost can guess who's here for this. So whereas September 17th, 2018 marks the 231st anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September the 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, it is proclaimed by the Mayor of Franklin, North Carolina, that September the 17th, 2018 is hereby designated as Constitution Week, and all citizens are encouraged to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering lost rights may never be regained, and in witness whereof I have unto set my hand and caused the seal of the town of Franklin to be affixed on this 4th day of September 2018. And did y'all want to make a picture of the signing? Please feel to come right on up here. And would y'all like to tell us who you represent?
We represent the Daughters of the American Revolution. I'm Constitution Week Chairman. And this is Marty Ash, our Regent, Marty Keener, our Co-Regent, our Registrar, and our first Vice Regent, Vicki Baker.
When I was a child, I was a car.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. That's good to know.
Come on up,
And
ladies.
we want to thank Summer every year. She's so helpful to us.
Absolutely, she is.
Barbara, thank you.
Okay, do you want to get closer?
Just whatever you think of.
Come on by, ladies. Come on.
Everybody
This is such a pleasure to be surrounded by you ladies. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to sign it. And what I'll do, I'll pass it down to the clerk. He will attest to it, and y'all will have your copy and get you on your way. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate y'all.
One more.
Oh.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank y'all. Appreciate you so much. Thanks. The next one is a proclamation for alcohol and drug addiction recovery. And I'll find it right here. Whereas substance use disorder prevention and treatment is effective and people are recovering in Franklin, North Carolina, and the United States. And whereas preventing and treating substance and disorder is essential for citizens achieving a healthy lifestyle, both physically and emotionally. And whereas we must recognize the role of friends and relatives in guiding and supporting those in need of treatment and recovery. And whereas last year more than 705,000 people in the state of North Carolina were estimated to have substance use abuse disorder. Whereas the United States of America and the state of North Carolina are both currently experiencing an opioid crisis and epidemic to such extent that the Surgeon General has issued a new advisory stating that all Americans should carry Narcan overdose prevention kits. And whereas to help more people achieve and sustain long-term recovery, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services invites all residents to participate in National Recovery Month. Now, therefore, I, Bob Scott, Mayor of the Town of Franklin, do hereby proclaim September 2, 2018 as Alcohol and Drug Addiction Recovery Month in Franklin, North Carolina, and commend its observance to all citizens. Is there someone here representing this proclamation? Yes.
I make a motion that we approve the proclamation as well as approve the proclamation on Constitution Week, which I'm not sure we formally did, and authorize the mayor to sign a vote.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Second.
Sorry, I It's messed up. Okay, all in favor?
In point of fact, you all have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution, so you kind of almost had to
I
let
think
that
you
one.
It'd be hard to turn that one down.
you already covered it. The next one is the resolution for mission and HCA. I've asked for this to be put on the agenda. There are a number of towns in western North Carolina that are also supporting this particular resolution concerning the sale of Mission Hospital to the Hospital Corporation of America. The resolution is short. It says, whereby Mission's stated goal is essentially the same as the town of Franklin's to improve the health and lives of the people of Franklin. The town of Franklin will support the proposed sale of Mission to HCA when the following conditions are met. Make the sales agreement made available for public review, for example, on a website, in sufficient time to ensure that public comments can be made and input will be meaningful in the Attorney General's approval process. Specify in the sales agreement that if, after the protected period ends, HCA or a successor owner decides to stop operating Angel Medical Center as an acute care hospital, the hospital must be returned to the community at no cost. Make the Dogwood Health Trust Board independent of both Mission and HCA and broadly representative of the region and the people it will serve by dissolving the current board and hiring at Mission's expense an independent firm selected by the Attorney General to consult with the community and compose the first permanent board. Any questions, comments? Entertain a motion to adopt.
I'll make that motion.
Second? Do I have a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay. All in favor?
We need discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
I know that we at the town board were charged with making decisions for town residents, tax base and such as that. I don't know how the town feels about this. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm not certainly not sure I want to say that they have to give that building to the town, to the community whenever they're through with it. I'm not sure we want. I'm not sure it's the best use of it. I don't think that it is this board's, I don't think it's up to us to speak for the town on this issue. Any town resident has a right, and some have done so. But I don't know how I feel, much less how the people out there feel, and so I'm not comfortable with it, but I want to hear from some of the other board members.
You know, I've got a second a little bit, which I have a little touch of concern, but it's, I mean, I guess I'd ask you, Council, I mean, does the resolution have anything, we tell them anything, does it make any difference?
It's certainly not binding on anybody. And, I mean, it would shock the life out of me if they said, we will turn your hospital over to you for no cost. I think if they, but Joe's point is good, I think if they did, I think we'd really have to think hard about what we were going to do with it. But again, you know, I don't know that there's any harm in the town taking a position if you all feel motivated to do it about this thing that certainly affects all town residents and beyond. So I don't think there's anything I would tell you you're making any legal mistake by adopting it. The entire situation is obviously fraught in a lot of different ways. So I think it'd be understandable if you did take a position, but maybe you need more discussion about what that is.
I introduced it. I brought it to you. The mayor of Highlands and myself, a lot of residents have been concerned about this sale. We feel like that nobody on the board here has really spoken out. We did speak out about labor and delivery being closed. We don't know where this is going, and what we're doing, where it is right now, is going to go to the Attorney General to look at. We're asking him for due diligence, to look at and stand up for the public. We're the ones that's going to be tasked with this. Now, so you're not saying it?
Yes, I read it,
Okay.
I just was...
Okay, we're not asking for the hospital back. We have a lot of questions. What's going to happen when they build this replacement hospital? What's going to happen right here to this hospital that we've got now? It is adequately, and in many cases more than adequately, serve this community and the people. How can we possibly attract people if we don't have an acute care facility? And every time we raise the issue, anybody raises the issue, there's a new carrot. They have appointed to the hospital the Dogwood Trust Foundation Board. Not a person from Macon County is on it. One from Cherokee, one from Jackson County, and one from Yancey County. We have no voice in this whatsoever. We're asking the Attorney General to do his job and be our voice and look out for our interests. How are we going to attract people here when we don't have labor and delivery? What happens if you have an emergency gallbladder? They're going to put you in a helicopter and send you over to Asheville? That's where you're going to be going. We don't know what is going on. We're asking the Attorney General to make sure that there's absolute transparency in this action, which is going to have a long-term effect on every resident of this town. Everyone. And frankly, I'm surprised at the reactions about it. Because everyone, just a minute, David. Every one of you saw this. You had an opportunity to let me know what you thought about it. Not discuss it or vote on it. And I came in tonight, and I think there's been some discussion among the board.
If
Okay, yes,
I may, Mayor.
please.
I echo a lot of your concerns, especially because I asked, I don't know what her title is, CEO of Angel, or Karen Gorby, when she presented. I asked her if she could be objective and tell us if there was any downside to this sale whatsoever, and she said there's absolutely none. I can't imagine that being true. With that being said, I certainly want the Attorney General to really look at this and not just rubber stamp it. I like what you said in person just then a lot more than a couple of the details in the resolution. It's somewhat similar to the resolution we passed on that Project Waya. It was the devil's in the details of the resolution. I'd be much more comfortable with the resolution if it said, we, the town of Franklin, are asking the Attorney General to look into this, do his due diligence, ask for the Dogwood Health Trust, ask for some input to the Dogwood Health Trust. It seems, I think we may lose credence in our statement of resolution to demand that they give the hospital back to us if they close it. Well, I understand where you're going with that, and I like the idea of it not being closed, it somehow staying open. If that means the community coming to save it again like we have in the past, I think that's fantastic. I think there's good heart here. I want it to be taken seriously by all three, Mission, HCA, and the Attorney General. I think we could word it in a manner that makes us sound committed to having health care in this town and county in the future that will be taken more seriously by all three of those entities.
And I would take that out. I would have no
Okay,
objection.
yeah, I agree with what you said, David, completely. Make
I could take
that
that
part
out in a heartbeat.
about the hospital being returned to us kind of, I just don't know what to think about it. I don't, it just
Actually,
seems,
I could live with that. I certainly can. But ladies and gentlemen, I have made many trips to Asheville. I have met with representatives of the Attorney General's office. I have met with these other communities that are facing the unknown in this sale. I have looked into HCA. It is for profit. Where we're going to be going with it, I don't know. But I feel like that we have a duty and an obligation to the people of Franklin to stand up and say, Mr. Attorney General, we need you to look into this and guide us on where we're going, because this is going to affect generations to come. Some of y'all are going to have grandchildren that could effectively be affected by this. Yes, ma'am.
First, I want to say that any idea I came in here with tonight was based upon my own decisions, not upon any discussions. I have had no discussions with anyone upon this board. I feel that this has already been entrusted to the Attorney General. That is part of his job, that a resolution will not put anything further upon him to do his job that he's already been set out to do. But I think my main thing about it is whether we like this or we don't like it, they pull labor and delivery. They could pull the whole hospital out from under us if they wanted to. And I just feel that I'm not in the hospital business, and I need to let the hospital deal with its own business. And that's where I'm coming from. I can't, because we can't mandate, no matter how we feel, a resolution is because it's non-binding. So where no matter what we did, it doesn't mean that it's going to change what's going to happen, and I truly believe the Attorney General will handle it as he's been elected to do.
So you don't see any room for the town board, which has an obligation and a loyalty to the town to speak out on this?
No, I don't. I
Okay.
feel that that's not our duty.
Why do we exist then?
Well, it's not to be in the hospital business.
We're not getting in the hospital business. We are trying to preserve the hospital for this generation and the generations to come. No
I don't
other
think
reason
we can
whatsoever.
do that.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
if I'm-
By speaking out. Yes.
If I may interject again, we may want to put into a resolution, let it be known that the community of Franklin and Macon County has saved this hospital at least one time in the past. We don't know that HCA knows that. So I think that would be an applicable piece of information to put in a resolution. Tell the Attorney General this community saved this hospital before. Tell HCA, remind Mission this community saved this hospital before. There's nothing wrong with making a resolution saying that we want health care in our town and we want transparency with the healthcare provider that's going to be owning our new hospital. I think that's pertinent information. I think if the resolution is tweaked somewhat, I think we would have a lot of support for it.
I have asked Mission and HCA to send a representative to talk to us. They have not done so. We have tried to be open, welcoming, and HCA has not, to my knowledge, been in this community to talk to anybody about what their long-range plans are, where they stand on rural health care. I was one of the ones in 1971 that helped raise the money to buy this hospital, and it was a community effort. It was an effort before and then like I've never seen in this community before. Payroll deduction, every community backing that we would have a community hospital here forever. And I'm at the age where I know darn good and well I need it. And I'm not going to criticize the care you get at Angel. If y'all find me sick some other town, you get me back to Angel. It's important to get well if you know the people who are taking care of you and who love you. We don't know what kind of layoffs there may be as a result of a for-profit hospital taking over a non-profit hospital. And I urge this board to do your duty and vote just for this non-binding resolution to show the Attorney General of North Carolina we're on top of this and we want you to look out for our interests. Yes, sir, Mr. Collins.
If I got the pulse of this board right, I think the best way, I echo what David says, the thoughts expressed tonight I don't find them in the resolution. There may be thoughts there that we can all get behind. I certainly wouldn't want the board to have a split vote and they try to go forward on that, and at best, that's what it obviously would be. If David would withdraw his motion, then I would make a motion that at this time we table the matter.
It was my
Brandon.
motion, actually.
Yeah.
And Mayor Scott, I 100% agree with you that something needs to be said on behalf of the town, on behalf of the people. But after hearing some of the stuff that the other council members have said, especially some of the things that David said, if I may, I would withdraw my motion as worded, but if it could be reworded, reflecting some of the stuff that was brought up tonight, I'd be more than happy to make the motion again.
You know there is a time limit
I'm sure there always is, yes, sir.
to get to the Attorney General. All right, there's a motion to withdraw it and apparently to drop it unless we can reword it to some degree.
And you will have an opportunity to do that. I mean, I don't want to get into what we did the last special meeting and add a ton of things to it, but maybe just this one additional thing at your September 24th meeting. You can bring it back for the council to approve.
All right, who's going to draw it up?
I'll help.
Okay.
I was born there.
I was too.
A lot of us sacrificed to get it there too.
Bob, I really echo your sentiments, and
I know you do.
I want to help.
And I'll put you to work.
It's fun.
All right, I guess that's a mood issue tonight. Thank you, both. Okay, the next resolution. Oh, let's find it. Well, Madam Manager, I know I had it because you just gave it to me. Well, what can I do with it?
Red flag.
Let me borrow yours, Barbara. You don't have any? Oh,
Can we borrow your packet for just a moment?
I had it right
certainly.
here. I'm sure.
Your packet's is special,
I'm terrible.
because I don't have one.
I don't know where we're at. Red flag legislation.
Yeah. I know I did have it here.
Don't lose that. I sign them at the end of the meeting and auction them off.
This probably work about what my signature is worth. Okay. I'm gonna take the clip off just a second. All right. It's a resolution supporting the enactment for red flag legislation in North Carolina. Whereas recent senseless tragedies in Las Vegas, Nevada, Sutherland Springs, Texas, Parkland, Florida, and Santa Fe, Texas have deeply shaken our community and the nations, these horrific acts and many others have brought the issues of public safety and gun violence to the forefront of our attention. And whereas an independent data collection and research group, Gun Violence Archive, has compiled incidents of gun violence and gun crime nationally and found that 346 instances of mass shootings had occurred in 2017 and 383 in 2016. And whereas developing practical, effective, and legally sustainable policies to separate firearms from people at risk of violence or suicide represents an important but challenging public health opportunity for gun violence prevention while ensuring protection of Second Amendment rights. And whereas 11 states have already passed red flag laws to provide for the issuance of protective orders prohibiting considered to be a risk to themselves or others from possessing or purchasing firearms and ordering the securing of a restrained individual's firearms. And whereas red flag legislation authorizes extreme risk protection orders to address a critical public safety problem by empowering certain individuals, including relatives and law enforcement, with the ability to seek immediate preventive relief from the judiciary to keep deadly weapons out of the hands of individuals who pose a clear and present risk of harm to themselves or others. And whereas now, more than ever, citizens are demanding leadership from elected leaders at all levels of government on the critical issue of preventing gun violence and ensuring the safety of our children. And whereas the North Carolina Sheriff's Association supports the concept of extreme violence protective orders, and whereas while the concept of red flag legislation is rapidly gaining momentum throughout the nation, it is critical that legislators take adequate time to carefully craft the legislation to ensure that the rights of all parties are respected and that this new tool can be effectively utilized to enhance public safety. Therefore, be it resolved that the Franklin Town Council hereby declares its support of appropriate red flag legislation in North Carolina and urges the legislature to take up the issue of extreme protection order or red flag legislation and encourages members of the North Carolina legislature to carefully consider the following issues as they move forward with their deliberations: the rights of all parties, including due process under the law, create provisions to ensure individuals in need of mental health treatment receive appropriate care, strengthen the provisions to allow law enforcement to intervene and assist troubled individuals prior to tragedies occurring, create safeguards to ensure this tool is not used as a retaliatory tactic, and learning from the most effective statutes in the nation to create an effective tool for law enforcement and families. Be it further resolved that the mayor of the city of Franklin is directed to forward copies of this adopted resolution to the governor of the state of North Carolina and to each of the members of Franklin's legislative delegation. Okay, you heard the resolution. And this was sent by Karen Duncan. Is Karen here? I didn't see her. Okay.
Move to adopt.
Second. Any discussion?
That's just a lot to unpack. There was some good stuff in there, and some bad stuff in there, but I'm still trying to unpack it in my head. We're encouraging the state of North Carolina to introduce red flag legislation that will give them greater police power over certain individuals.
Are you asking me or?
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
I would say that's the effect of it, sure. And I can't profess to be an expert on red flag legislation, but I tell you, as somebody who represents school districts, I'm in favor of whatever might help us identify people who probably shouldn't own guns. There are people out there that shouldn't own guns.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just don't know. I mean, there's Second Amendment issues here. There's a lot going on in what was just read. I'm a big proponent of safety, especially school safety, but I'm also a skeptic, and police states scare me. I guess that's the end of my discussion.
Okay, any further discussion? Brian, look like you were getting ready to raise your hand.
Oh, no, sir. I didn't make the second, but
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of passage of the red flag resolution? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, all opposed. 1, 2, 4, and 2. Okay. Budget amendments. Ms. Doster, bring us some good news.
Okay, in the package you have 2 budget amendments for insurance settlement checks that we've received that need to be appropriated. The first one is in water and sewer, and it is in the amount of $2,096, and it's for repair to a pump out at Mackler Forest. The second one is for the Facilities Department, to be appropriated into the vehicle maintenance line in the amount of $502 for damage repair to the Ford Transit van that we have.
That's what I want.
Is that the two that
That's the
the
only
ones that you have? Okay, any discussion, any questions?
When we approve these amendments.
All in favor? Okay, the next item is tax releases. Madam Manager, you have this item.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, what you have before you is actually essentially two items. It's in your packet. The first request is for Angel Medical Center. This has been brought to the town's attention by Macon County. They're looking to their new assessed value. One bill would be for $1,476.61. The second amount would be for $3,299.10 for Angel Medical Center. And one of the reasons cited in the proposal from the county was that some of the property, personal property, was mistaxed in the current hospital. The second request is for 425 Porter Street. That was the former Chamber of Commerce building, and now since it's occupied by NCDOT, of course, there's a waiver of that, and that release amounts for $1,240.26. So we're just seeking a motion tonight to approve the releases as presented in your packet.
All right, you heard the information is presented. Any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion to adopt. So we'll pass it. All in favor? Okay. All right. The appointment of Matt Holland to the Tourism Development Authority Board. Madam Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, what you have before you tonight is an appointment request made by the Franklin Tourism Development Authority Board to appoint Matt Holland to the board. Matt, the recommendation would be to serve a 3-year appointment starting September 4th, 2018 to September 4th, 2021. And Mr. Holland is with DeSoto Trail Realty, and he would represent a short-term rental property.
Okay. Any discussion on the appointment?
Move to appoint Matt.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. All right, reappointment of Peter Mosco to the Town Planning Board. Mr. Setzer, sir, you're up.
Good evening, Mayor, Council again. Mr. Mosco's term has expired on the Town Planning Board, and he wishes to be reappointed. It would be should be a memo in your packet. It was a planning board term for 3 years, and it would be a 3-year term from tonight if you'd like to reappoint him.
Okay. All right, any discussion, comments? All in favor or not in favor, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Mr. Mosco back to the Town Planning Board.
Motion.
Second? Y'all, raise them high.
I'm seconding.
Okay, all right, all in favor? Okay. All right, reappointment of Sissy Patilla to the Alcohol Beverage Control Board. Madam Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, what you have before you tonight in your packet is a request from the Franklin ABC Board to reappoint Ms. Carolyn Sissy Patilla to serve a 3-year appointment, which would begin September the 4th, 2018 through September the 4th, 2021.
Okay, any discussion from the board? All right, I'll entertain a motion to reappoint Sissy Patilla to the Alcohol Beverage Control Board.
So moved.
Have a motion, second, all in favor?
Mayor Scott, if I can just inquire, did we have lots of applications for those 3 positions that we just appointed?
Mr. Mayor and Council, if I may, I can speak
Sure.
on behalf of the Tourism Development Authority Board. We've actually had that vacancy, that the term we just filled a few moments ago, for probably about 3 years now. We had 2 applicants this last time. As far as the ABC Board, I can't speak to that as I don't serve as a liaison or anything to that board. And Mr. Setzer, would you like to speak on the Planning Board?
The last appointment we made on planning board, we had 2 applications, and we went with the 1. The reappointments, we don't advertise the reappointments, but unless there's something we want to change in bylaws in the future. But I don't have any active applications, even from previous appointments for the planning board.
Answer your question, sir.
Well, I just know we had discussed it before, and there was some confusion about how the board's operated, and I just don't know if we ever got clarity on it or not.
We look back at the minutes from April, May?
April, May.
April, May, and there had been discussion, I think where we left this in May was that we had polled the boards, the membership of TDA, planning board, and
And the ABC board.
and ABC board, about their thoughts about how it would go if they did, you know, because it's, and you can't not ask, you're asking the very people that you would be telling them if your term ends, you're going to have to apply to stay on it. And it was pretty uniform that they thought it would be a morale killer. They didn't feel like they should have to sort of campaign to stay on the voluntary board. And you know, I think I told you at the time, wasn't in the minutes, but I seem to remember saying legally there's no set way to do this. I just thought I wouldn't recommend it because I do think it's a morale problem for at least some of the boards. I mean, I think we've been doing a good job to keep them full, and that has gone better. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a lot more interest, and that's great.
Do we have a revolving application online, or somebody can get in person to apply for any boards we have?
TDA.
Absolutely.
I mean, if somebody from the audience wants to apply for the ABC board or the planning board, is an application available for us to keep on file for something like that?
Again, I can't speak for ABC board, but for TDA and planning and board of adjustment. If, let's say that there wasn't a vacancy and someone came in and expressed an interest, I know what we do here internally is we would then keep that application on file until there was a vacancy, and then we would bring that to the whichever board, but those would go on file. ABC board, I'm sorry, I can't speak to that.
Well, I think that we've made it a practice, though, if we know of a vacancy, we do publish.
We do advertise, yeah.
We advertise it.
But reappointment is not considered a vacancy on any board that we oversee.
It has not been in the past.
Not a reappointment. If the reappointment comes from the entity that's wanting to make the appointment, that it's served on, yeah. If they vote that the person's doing a good job, then they bring it to us for their recommendation for a reappointment.
And there's no term limits on boards?
The TDA does have several, and it varies. They're normally staggered terms. Like your chair, I think your chair can serve 3 consecutive 3-year terms, which is 9 years. You'll notice that's why we rotated your chair off. Again, like I said, TDA I can speak to just because I'm a part of that board. ABC I can't. Mr. Setzer, planning?
Planning doesn't have any term limits at all.
For the record, I think all 3 of these people we appointed are excellent people.
Would you like to make a motion to reappoint?
They're already appointed. I think they're excellent.
I mean, yeah, I know they are. I mean, we've got one there that, we did vote on this.
Yeah, but they're all done.
Did we? Okay, we did vote on Ms. Patel. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, no further discussion on the reappointments. Discussion on the Women's History Trail, Ms. McRae. No, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Water treatment plant, Senego contract. Madam Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, what you have before you tonight is, in your packet, you have a proposal to do for Senego, that's to clean your lagoons at your water treatment plant. If you'll note, in the past several budget cycles, we've set a reserve account aside, $30,000. It's brought to our attention at one of our last progress meetings with our water treatment plant, which is hopefully going to be online January of 2019, that it would be an ideal situation to move forward if we could and go ahead and have those lagoons pumped. You do have money set aside in your retained earnings account. So what we're asking for tonight is to be able to move forward with that and take an appropriation of $150,000 from retained earnings. This was normally scheduled to be done the summer of 2019. We've just been advised by some engineering staff that it would be a wise investment on the town to go ahead and do that now. So when we do bring the new system online in January, you've got clean everything running through.
Okay, call for a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I would ask that
Yes, sir.
the motion also state that there are a couple of their terms and conditions they presented that I want to have some discussion with them about, and it may need some revisions. So I would just ask that the council go ahead and approve the appropriation of the funds as the manager suggested, and make it subject to satisfactory legal contracts.
So basically what we need is the motion, just go ahead with the funding.
And so, yes,
With the revision.
subject to legal.
Yes, okay. Okay, I will entertain that motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second? Second, okay, all in favor? Okay. All right, Ms. McRae, I think you're up now.
Okay. As you all probably know, we've been working in the Women's History Trail. Committees have been working very hard with the Folk Heritage Association. In the end of October, we will be putting up our first phase of the trail with 8 plaques in downtown properties. One of those will be honoring Eloise Griffin Franks Potts, who was the first and only female mayor of Franklin. And we are honoring her as a fine example of public service. I've given you the wording that will go on the plaque that put a packet by each of your seats. And these are bronze plaques. They're similar to what the National Register of Historic Places, that you've seen those bronze plaques on buildings. Very nice. They'll last forever. They're $500, and we wanted to offer the town the opportunity to be the sponsor on this plaque, which will go on the property in front of Town Hall.
Okay, so what you're asking for is $500.
Yes, in a nutshell.
All right, I'll entertain a motion if there's no further discussion.
Well, how big is the plaque?
It's just like a 12 by 12.
And it's made out of bronze, real bronze?
It's bronze, yes. Foundry in Atlanta is doing it. It will be mounted on a post that's very nice looking, because this is a walking trail. We want people to be able to walk by on the sidewalk and see the plaque. So we haven't picked out an exact spot yet.
So it's the plaque and
the whole thing,
everything
everything
that
is-
matches.
Yes.
So all the lettering is in bronze and everything?
Yeah.
It's not just the...
No, it's like, and I thought I had a picture of one, but I couldn't find it. But it's like this big, and then at the top it has a little scallop, and it has WHT, Women's History Trail. Then it has the wording on it, and this is all that you can fit on that plaque. But it'll be. I've seen samples of their work. They do very good work. So it'll be nice looking, and it will last forever.
Forever. Who give the woman her money?
You want to make that a motion, or you just going to talk that? Okay.
I make the motion.
Second, okay, all in favor? Okay, discussion on historic...
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Council, if I may real quick, because I see the finance officer wanting to know where you're going to take that from. If we could just maybe amend that motion to reflect that we could take the $500 out of the existing line item and governing board out of community council relations. You have that within there.
I'll make the motion to that effect. Amend it.
Second? All in favor?
Thank you. Thank you all very
All
much.
right. McRae, you're up again. Discussion on historic preservation
This will be
site
very,
survey.
very brief. And I've given you a copy. The town of Robbinsville is doing this. They have hired a architectural survey specialist to do a comprehensive historic sites survey in the town of Robbinsville. We've never done one in the town of Franklin. The county of Macon did one in 1996, and it included some sites in the town, but this is quite a long time ago. If you know National Register, anything 50 years old, or it has a property has to be at least 50 years to be eligible. So a lot of properties have come of age in this time, and this would give us an idea. I was motivated to bring this to your attention because we've just lost 2 very charming buildings that meant a lot to a lot of people, and this would be a step toward being able to perhaps preserve future buildings that might be under threat, and give us at least knowledge of what we have, so we could start ranking what we have and deciding what we might want to protect. So no action is just for your information, but I thought this article was interesting, and it tells you a little bit more about how it's done. You just hire a consultant, and I can't give you a price because they charge different prices. It depends on how long it's going to take, and the fact that we have this is the Comprehensive Historic Site Survey from Franklin. It's quite long, quite comprehensive.
That's one for Franklin already?
This was making counties in 1996.
Okay.
But it gives you a starting place. So there's, some things that don't have to be reinvented. They've already done a survey of a particular house. Unless something drastically has changed, it wouldn't have to be.
Is that publicly available?
I think it's online, actually. Yes, this is very available and much used. I use it a lot myself. It has really great information in it. It's sort of a history from an architectural point of view of the county.
What is it called?
Let me see what it is called. Macon County Multiple Property Documentation Form is the official name. Jennifer Martin did this in 1996. I call it the Macon County Historical Survey because it's easier to remember.
Okay, while we're at it, why don't we throw in another $500 for our thing across the street?
All right. Throw it in.
Okay.
You want me to tell them about it?
Sure, why not? We've been on it for a while now.
Had I told you all about the rock? The rock at the corner of between the Tart Museum and the Blush store, the new store. There is a rock visible on the sidewalk, and the Tart Museum asked me to do some research about their history. And in the course of reading all these deeds, I found references to a survey rock on the corner of lots 1 in the town of, these were the original lots in the 1820 survey. Lot 1 started with that rock. That's the starting place. That's all that's left. But that's the rock they sat on. They did all their measurements from when they laid out the 20 lots that constituted the town of Franklin and the courthouse in the center. So you can see part of the rock. And so we've been talking about putting a plaque up there that would explain to people, this is something important. It doesn't look like nobody would know what it is. Nobody knew what it was. But it's to me, it's really just a fascinating thing and something else for people to look at and say, oh my gosh, look at that, when they walk down the street.
May I name it? May I name that rock?
You may name the rock.
The Genesis of Franklin.
Well, it was.
Okay. Could we ace for the, what are we talking about? Less than $500, aren't we?
Probably,
You'll get a price on it.
No, I just suggest that somebody do a little research and figure out what it would cost to get a good one, get it right, and I think we might have something there. I had no idea. I had no idea.
Real estate attorneys in town will be interested in that.
That's right.
I wish I knew about it. Next time I get to do a deed, I'm going to reference it.
The rock.
If anybody knows anything about surveying, I'd love to know if any of there's marks on it, like little holes and
Yeah, it
lines.
looks like there are.
And I don't know if they meant something or if there was where they set their tool or
It's actually a ruby. It's just painted white.
They left over from the
Gem capital of the world.
Let's call Pepper Cooper. Okay.